I have a brother-in-law who turned 87 today. I have a grandson who turned 17 today. Does that give you enough time, Hal?
Yep.
I have a little story here called Changing Golf Perceptions. And this was sent to me by a friend of mine, notice the word friend, from New Jersey. A Catholic priest, an Indian doctor, a rich Chinese businessman, and an Italian from New Jersey were waiting one morning for a particularly slow group of golfers in front of them. The Italian from New Jersey fumed, "What's going on with these jerks? We're waiting 15 minutes between our shots." The Indian doctor chimed in, "I don't know, but in all my play I've never seen such poor golf." The Chinese businessman called out, "Hey, move it, time is money." The Catholic priest said, "Here's the greenskeeper. Let's have a word with him." "Excuse me," said the priest, "what's wrong with that group ahead of us? They're rather slow, aren't they?" The greenskeeper replied, "Oh yes, that's a group of blind firefighters. They lost their sight saving our clubhouse from a fire last year. So we always let them play for free, anytime." The group fell silent for a moment. The Catholic priest said, "That's so sad, I think I'll say a special prayer for them tonight." The Indian doctor said, "Good idea. I'm going to contact my ophthalmologist colleague and see if there's anything he might be able to do for them." The Chinese businessman replied, "I think I'll donate $50,000 to the Firefighters Union in honor of these brave souls." The Italian from New Jersey said, "Why can't they play at night?" Now, this is a story about a Norwegian virgin wedding. The source is Joe Bosk. We can blame him or you can cheer him. Olaf Svensson, out in the pasture in northern Minnesota, took a lightning quick kick from a cow right in the crotch. Writhing in agony, he fell to the ground. As soon as he could manage, he took himself to the doctor and said, "How bad is it, doc? I'm going on my honeymoon next week, and my fiancée, Lena, is still a virgin in every way." The doctor told him, "Olaf, I'll have to put your belly in a splint to let it heal and to keep it straight. It should be okay next week, but leave the splint on there as long as you can." He took 4 tongue depressors, formed a neat 4-sided splint, taped it all together. Quite an impressive work of art. Olaf mentioned none of this to Lena, married her, and they went on their honeymoon to Duluth. That night in the Motel 6, Lena ripped open her blouse to reveal her beautiful, untouched breast and said, "Olaf, you're the first one. No one has ever seen these." Olaf immediately dropped his pants and replied, "Look at this, Lena, still in the crate." Pardon me for laughing at my own telling. Marriage counseling. This is from Hal McClear. After 35 years of marriage, the husband and wife went for counseling. When asked what the problem was, the wife went into a passionate and painful tirade, listing every problem they'd had over the years. On and on she went. Neglect, lack of intimacy, emptiness, loneliness, feeling unloved and unlovable, an entire laundry list of unmet needs she had endured. Finally, after allowing this for a sufficient length of time, the therapist arose, walked around the desk, asked the wife to stand, embraced and kissed her long and passionately as her husband watched with raised eyebrow. The woman shut up and quietly sat down as though in a daze. The therapist turned to the husband and said, "This is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do this?" "Well, I can bring her on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays I fish." I'm going to skip the hillbilly life cycle. I Irish moose hunters, again from Hal McAleer. Blame him if you don't like it. Patty and Mick got a pilot to fly them to Canada to hunt moose. They bagged 6. As Patty and Mick start loading the plane for the return trip, the pilot says, "The plane can only take 4 of those." The 2 lads object strongly. "Last year we shot 6 and the pilot let us put them in all on board. He had the same type of plane as yours." Reluctantly, the pilot gives in and all 6 are loaded. However, even with full power, the little plane can't handle the load, and down it goes and crashes in the middle of nowhere. A few moments later, climbing out of the wreckage, Patty asked Mick, "Any idea where we are?" "I think we're pretty close to where we crashed last year." And this one comes from Joe Bosk. Every married man in the room has got to love him. A married couple was in a terrible accident where the man's face was severely burned. The doctor told the husband that they couldn't graft any skin from his too skinny body, so the wife offered to donate some of her own skin. However, the only skin on her body that the doctor felt was suitable would have to come from her buttocks. The husband and wife agreed that they would tell no one about where the skin came from, and they requested that the doctor also honor their secret, as this was a delicate matter. After the surgery was completed, everyone was astounded at the man's new face. He looked more handsome than he had ever had before. All his friends and relatives just went on and on about his youthful face. One day, alone with his wife and overcome with emotion at her sacrifice, he said, "Dear, I just want to thank you for everything you did for me. How can I possibly repay you?" "My darling," she replied, "I get all the thanks I need every time I see your mama kiss you on the cheek."